This is the War Room Roundtable podcast, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant businessmen and women on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they've learned on the road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their successes into your life and business. The War Room Roundtable is brought to you by your hosts, Jason Miller, CEO of Strategic Advisor Board, and Phillip Lanos, CEO of Own the Rhythm, and former podcast host for Entrepreneur and Inc. magazine. Welcome to the War Room. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. How you doing, Matthew?
I am doing great. Been a busy morning. It's just go, go, go. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a good sign if you're being productive. As Jason likes to say, a four-letter word for him is busy.
That's it.
But that being said, one of the first things we like to ask when we start this conversation with our guests is, do you yourself come from a family of entrepreneurs or business owners?
Yes, my dad is a general contractor. He's always done everything under the radar that he possibly can on that end. My parents originally had a log home construction and quoting service that they started when I was very young. And like we're that slow transition, instead of there being a kind of generational transition from everybody just working the grind to having that one person that kind of branches out and doing their own thing. Like it was almost just a transition period where my parents did a little bit of both. They worked in the factories plus had their own business. And I'm just more focusing now on, I worked in the factories for a while and now it's all right. Now I'm just working for myself. I refuse to work for somebody else again in my life.
Yeah, no, it's a sentiment I think everyone who listens to this show will echo. There's just some people just don't need to do that. Now, that being said, you yourself have a pretty interesting take on how an agency can operate. And I want to get to that. So before we go there, we got to bridge the chasm there. And that is, so you make the decision, never going to work for someone again. You've paid your dues. Now, what's the journey like to you launching a business? Is the agency you run now the first business you launched?
I had originally, I'm really bad with timing.
Okay.
I had tried to start a custom computer company back in 2009. Obviously 2009, not the greatest time to try to start a tech-based business. I'd done like a small lawn mowing service when I was really young, kind of like the first thing, just, all right, I need to make my own money. I'm not old enough to work for somebody else. That's what I'm going to go start doing. So I've always been in the mind of, I want to do things myself. And I'm only one of those people that once I get focused on how to do something, I just go down rabbit holes. I've done 3D printing. I've done leatherworking. I've done metalwork. I've done construction. It's always one of those things where, all right, how can I make this always pay for itself? Even when I was doing aquarium hobbies, I was breeding fish in order to pay for it. So it's something that I don't get into something if it doesn't have the ability to pay for itself. And now it's just taking all of that knowledge that I've procured for the years and being able to help other small businesses, both in our marketing agency side, but also being able to share that knowledge of these are the hurdles that you're going to have no matter what the industry. So I just trying to pay it forward too.
And just like all those businesses in the past, you found a way to make this marketing agency pay for itself.
Yep.
Man, you're saying Jason's favorite line, it pays for itself, or as he likes to call it, the self-licking ice cream cone.
And getting that mailbox money, baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we try to make sure that when we design the system, that it was something where no matter what size business you have, we had a minimum barrier to entry, because that's something that we felt when my wife was working for another agency, she's our web engineer. She saw the battle of small companies that were just starting. They wanted to have an actual professional website. They wanted those professional services from a agency. And usually it's a 4 to 5 digit bill up front in order for that to be affordable. And we're like, that's not sustainable as a small company. We need to make sure that these people are served. So we took and we focused on this extremely underserved niche of businesses. And I mean, this last week, even I had probably 15 people reach out to me saying, hey, we need your services. You actually have what we need in an affordable package. And we're like, I mean, that's why we're here.
Yeah, man. No, I love it. I think what you're doing is a service to the marketplace. Many people they all shoot for the 4 or 5, and I get it, but there are people who are going to grow into that 4 or 5. I imagine you have an offering that grows into it, right?
Yeah, that's the best part is we get in on the ground floor with these businesses and we're built to be able to scale with them. So whatever they need, we can handle it.
Now, where is that again tied to just how you've always done business, from like making sure it pays for itself? I mean, it's a huge leap, right? All of that was like crafting and sort of trade work, and then you go into the agency.
Yeah, that became the part of me, my wife, and our friend that we have that's our social media specialist. We all just looked at our skill sets. I'm good at talking with people. I'm good at explaining things and thinking outside the box in ways that the layman person that doesn't know what they specifically need, I'm able to break it down and explain it for them. So that's where our client acquisition. I handle all the client conversations. Whereas my wife, she's great at building a website. She's been doing it since the late 90s. She knows that stuff inside out. So that's where she specializes. And our friend that does social media, she is a goddess when it comes to that stuff. So that we will let her focus on that. And everybody has their specific niche. So like my history with doing all the crafting and stuff is I had to build these relationships with the crafting vendors. So when I was doing 3D printing, I had printer companies, I had suppliers that would reach out to me and they'd send me stuff just because I was good at talking with them and knowing, hey, I have these problems. Let's see how we can fix this. And I was input on a couple of manufacturing teams, even for 3D printing companies, to fix little things that they had. So it's just that relationship building that a lot of agencies or even just salespeople, because they are focused on sales and not focused on building relationships. That's where we kind of stand out a little bit of difference too, because I mean, you go to forums, you go to Facebook and stuff, it's constantly, hey, I'll sell you this. And it's like, I don't want to necessarily sell you something. I want to solve your problem.
Yeah, man. No, I understand the sentiment exactly. I want to let Jason chime in here on some of the things you've said, because I'm sure he's got a lot to appreciate about the way you approach business.
There's something to be said about the old-fashioned way, right? And the old-fashioned way of things isn't this pushy, salesy. I always go back to my old man. Back when I was a kid, I watched him do business, and it just wasn't like you see a lot nowadays. It's so far from that now compared to what it used to be. And, bringing that back, if we can get more people to just bring back that old-fashioned way of doing business, one, we'd have a far cleaner marketplace for sure. And instead of this sell, and then, crappy fulfillment or whatever the case may be. And, that's where, if we could just get more people in that mentality, the marketplace itself would be a much cleaner place. It would be easier for people to actually acquire clients. The coaching space is the perfect place for this conversation, right? I call them COVID coaches, right? Why? Well, they got fired from McDonald's and decided to go get a coaching license for $35, right? And Next thing you know, they're advising businesses, right? And who has to deal with the fallout? Somebody like me, somebody like you. We have to deal with the fallout of that crap because the client got screwed. They got advised with bad advice, and now they just clam up and they just think everybody's out to get them, right? And so, yeah, the marketplace, a big giant broom about the size of the United States to just sweep across business and get rid of all the garbage.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about
Yeah, I'm with you 100% there. I mean, my dad, he's been a general contractor. He got his license back in 96. He has never once had to hand out business cards, do any type of cold calling. His work has spoke for itself, and he's never been without work. It's the referrals, and people just really underestimate the word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing quality work, you will always have clients.
Yeah, man. No, that's coming from a marketing agent, right? Like you're like, look, we run an agency and we know, but there is something to be said about somebody who just continues to deliver.
Yeah. Like I've tried to get my dad to let me build him a site. He won't let me. He's like, I don't need more visibility. I can't keep up.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. That's true, man. No, I think Jason and I were having that conversation I want to say maybe a week ago, just about how far an individual can go before they have to bring on more help and more people and what that looks like. And you can go pretty far without it. And like a good reputation goes a long way. So we understand this. You've got the team, right? You've found a niche and things are going great. What does the future look like for you? Where do you have your sights set on?
A lot of it is just building up that reputation in the space. I mean, we've only started back in May, so we are very new, but we just came out the, what's the word? Hit the ground running.
Yeah, guns blazing.
I was able to take advantage of a few previous connections that really were already on the ball wanting my wife's services as the web designer side. So we were able to pick those up real quick, and immediately it just became referrals from those connections, or very easy outreach, like how you guys find me on Alignable. It just giving out advice very quickly became reciprocal in people wanting my services. So now it's just a matter of really just building it all out, getting everything, making sure that everything is up to our quality, and taking advantage of the current tech of the space. I mean, it's exploding technology wise as well.
Got it. Now, if people wanted to connect and like get more information about what it is you're doing and maybe stay on your radar, where would they go?
The easiest place obviously would be our website, definitely onto-something.com. We have a contact form on there. We are on pretty much every social. We're on LinkedIn, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Alignable. I'm on a good portion of the day, just keeping up with people because I do have a lot of connections over there now. So if anybody's on there, that's probably the best place to find me. Otherwise, just go to our webpage, drop a line. I'll email you back pretty quickly.
That's cool. Definitely onto something.com.
Definitely onto something.com.
It's catchy.
Yeah, man. I respect that. No. Now, if you could go back to the person who was doing work for someone else and not yet having completely taken that step forward into their own power of building a business and working with strategic partners and all that, what would you say to that version of yourself?
Stop waiting. There is no perfect time to start. Do it right now. I don't care if it is 5 minutes a day you spend doing it. Start.
Man. Yeah. I mean, there's literally doesn't get any, people are always looking for like the most detailed, insightful. This is how
the more you plan it, the harder it's just going to be to execute those plans. Just Go step one. I have a picture downstairs, actually. It's if you're waiting for step one, here it is. Get on to step two.
Right.
Oh man, I love that. I love that.
Sometimes a good old fashioned swag is what you got to do.
Oh, I've never heard that phrase before.
Scientific wild ass guess.
Wait,
it's a
sorry.
scientific wild ass guess. A swag.
I've legitimately
Sometimes you just gotta swag it. You just gotta swag it.
So that's what they mean by someone with swagger. No.
you can't hit it over the fence if you don't swing.
That's right.
Straight up. Yeah, now I hope you don't mind. We're going to take a moment to go ahead and give a big shout out to someone that's made this episode possible. They're part of the community. They actually listen to the podcast, and they are Rogue Publishing Partners. They essentially offer you a host of experts in the independent publishing industry to help you, whether you're an executive, an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, a writer. You can publish books with them, market books with them. They've basically designed their entire operation to give you the traction you're looking for in the marketplace when it comes to publishing. So go ahead and visit roguepublishingpartners.com and let them know the War Room sent you. All right. With that said, let's get back to the show here. So I'm curious. So you've got your sights set on going forward with this new niche that you've developed. You spend a lot of time social networking with people. If there was anything you could leave behind for someone who still is like, even triple digit spending is a lot for me, like what would you say to them when they're like, I know I need to market, I know, like what would you say to them?
Don't think of it necessarily in the dollar value. Think of it in the hours that you're spending doing it. For example, it may take us 10, 15 minutes to do a small site update. For a Wix user or a Squarespace user, that may be a half hour, 45 minutes, many times multiple hours in order to get it exactly how you want. That is time back you're getting because we're handling it and we're doing it in the most efficient way possible.
Right. So don't look at it as dollars spent, look at it as time back.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, especially for smaller operations, they don't have much to afford in terms of lost time.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even us, it's been go 7 a.m, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Some nights it's just constant.
Right on, man. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Jason to sort of hear his reflections on some of the things that you talked about right now, and then we'll get back to the grand finale.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we hear people trip over money, right? All the time. I hear it every day. People trip over money, and it's not always because they don't have it. It's like there's this feeling of loss when people give money up, right? But I think what most people don't realize, going back to what you said, time is money, and money is time, right? And you have to leverage them both the right way. Speed loves money and money loves speed, right? So you have to really approach it as, what is my trade-off? What's my better trade-off? It's always going to be the money, because if you spend $1 to do something that would take you 5 minutes, this is not accurate, but I'm just saying, using it as if you spend $1 to do something that takes 5 minutes, could have you made $2 in that 5 minutes? It's basic math. And at the end of the day, your wife can lie to you, your kids can lie to you. Math never lies. It's your best friend. Right? So math always wins. So you have to know that math for you. Maybe it is worth you taking the 5 minutes to do that. I don't know, but you got to know that for yourself. And then look at that and say, what's the risk versus reward?
Yeah, like an example I use quite often is, sure, mowing my lawn is easy. It doesn't really take me a whole lot of time to do it. But if it takes me 45 minutes, that's 45 minutes I could have done on outreach, helping my wife with a couple of things on design, critiquing things, talking to other clients already that I have. that 45 minutes could have cost me several $100 versus spending $20-$50 to have somebody mow my lawn for me.
Right.
And that's as real as it gets. If people are still going, I don't know if it's worth, spend the money if it's going to make you more money.
I mean, you look at most really high executives, they don't drive to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. Have an assistant go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? That 30 minutes of time that you would waste on that trip to get, that would be the most expensive damn cup of coffee you would ever buy.
Yeah, man. No, this has been a great one. So again, definitely on to something.com is the place you want to go to check out more of what Matthew Weber's doing there. With that said, we've reached the grand finale. Drum roll, please. I got to get a sound effect then. You gotta get something that, I mean, you can always beatbox. It's late enough. No. So Matthew, if you could have invited anybody to sit in and sort of reflect on life the way you just did with your origins, your family history, how you then turned it all around by sheer power of conviction and aligning yourself with strategic partners who were already close to you and showing that it can be done and that you can still find places in the marketplace that need service and have it grow into and scale up into even better, stronger, more fulfilling and rewarding relationships on both sides. Who would you have loved to have invited here today and why that?
It's hard to specify a single person because I want like everybody that has ever told me you can't to be in the room, because that is the most powerful saying that anybody can have in their chamber, because that's guaranteed power of, I'm going to prove you wrong. And people think of it the other way around and they let it get to them too easily. If I had to pick a single person, probably my grandmother. She was a huge influence in the past of constant, you can do this. I don't care what it is. You put your mind to it, you can do anything.
Man, you can't count those people enough in life. The ones that really do truly support you for no reason other than that they just care about you as a person. And what a way to turn it all around to people who tried to doubt you. It's funny. Not everybody is empowered by people doubting them, but the ones that do, man, they can really use that as fuel. I'm sure that kept you running for that's how you do your 12, 16-hour days. And you're like, look, these people said I couldn't do it. I'm doing it. And I think that's a valuable thing is to find what it is that can give you the juice you need to get over to the next step. And it's like you said earlier, if you're still wondering about step number 1 and how that's going to go, move over to step number 2. And there you go. You did it. It's that simple. And definitely onto something.com is where you can get more of that stuff. So Matthew, I had a pleasure meeting you and hearing about the interesting way that you've approached business, but it is tradition around here for Jason to close us out. So I'm gonna let him do it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're all busy. The word busy. I choose the word productive versus busy. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to be here. It's 30 minutes out of your day to be here. And that means a lot that you're willing to do that. So thank you for sharing your story. Thanks for sharing your little bit of truth bombs out there, right? Everybody needs those every now and again. And gosh, best of luck with your agency. And man, it's fourth quarter. Kill it.
Aim high or don't aim.
Hey,
Either way you're shooting.
Well, it's not quite fourth quarter, but it's almost there.
Yeah.
We're just about there.
Right on.
Cheers.
Man. Cheers.
Great meeting you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to the War Room Roundtable with your hosts, Jason Miller and Phillip Lanos. please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and always remember, if you can dream it and believe it, then you can go achieve it. We'll see you in the next episode.